TSA knows far more about you than you think, and most of it they'll never say out loud. And here's the scary part. Many passengers have no idea how secretly the TSA is tracking them. One passenger at JFK thought he was all clear until a secret 4-letter code triggered extra screening, leaving him panicked and scrambling to save his flight rail. In this video, we're stepping behind the plexiglass into the tricks TSA keeps quiet, but travelers need to know. By the end, you'll learn what those 4 letters mean. Trust me, it's not what you think. How agents read your body language and your rights during a pat-down. Truths that could save you from delays or a missed flight. You'll uncover even more hidden rules most passengers never hear about. Miss this, and your next flight could be a nightmare. Watch till the end to travel like a pro. Before your bag even goes through the scanner, TSA is already watching you. They use a system called Spot to flag tiny signals, like avoiding eye contact, fidgeting too much, or sweating when it's cool. Just one small detail can put you on the extra screening list. Here's the scary part. Those signals don't always mean you've done something wrong. Sometimes you're just nervous, like everyone else. I've flown hundreds of times, and I still get anxious because TSA rules keep shifting. Once, I watched a young woman get held at the airport because of a simple heat patch on her back. She hadn't broken any rules, but the patch triggered the scanner and its chemicals set off the explosive detector. That led to a full pat-down and bag search. So how do you stay off TSA's radar? Keep your ID and boarding pass ready, move with the flow of the crowd, and double-check your bags before you fly. Heat patches, lotions, even wet wipes can cause unexpected alarms. If you ever stopped over something small, share your story in the comments. And the next secret is even scarier. Just 4 letters on your boarding pass can trap you in the airport for hours. As a very frequent flyer, I'd say that nowadays I get SSSS on my boarding pass maybe a few times per year, typically on one-way international itineraries. And this is the second secret I want to share with you. If you ever see 4 bold letters, SSSS, it means Secondary Security Screening Selection, and it changes your whole airport experience. One traveler told me that in 60 years of flying, he never got tagged until he canceled his return ticket at JFK and bought a last-minute one-way home. That triggered SSSS, pulling a man who'd flown uneventfully for decades into a 30-minute bag swab and pat-down when time was tight, leaving him angry and rattled on the flight home. So what else flags you and how to handle it? Keep watching. Buying a one-way international ticket, booking too close to departure, unusual travel pattern, or just random selection can trigger SSSS, meaning a deeper check. Bags unpacked, explosive swabs, a full pat-down, and questions about where you're headed and why. Getting the dreaded SSSS on your boarding pass sure can be a pain. It'll add quite a bit of time to the screening process and is invasive as they'll touch every inch of you and your bag. Don't worry, stay calm, keep your answers short and consistent, and make sure your essentials, passport, phone, medications, are easy to reach so you're not scrambling under pressure. Ever had SSSS on your boarding pass? Share your story in the comments. I want to hear it. And speaking of the next secret, let's move into something most passengers never think about. What TSA officers say to each other when you're not listening. Did you know TSA officers sometimes use secret slang to talk about you right there at the checkpoint? Former employees have revealed that certain slang terms or quick marks on a boarding pass could also be used as inside jokes or shorthand about passengers who stood out for one reason or another. The biggest glimpse came in 2019, when a private Facebook group called TSA Breakroom was exposed. With nearly 18,000 current and former officers, it revealed posts that mocked passengers and used harsh language. TSA was criticized and tightened its rules. And yes, you could end up as a meme in their chat just because you forgot to pull that water bottle out of your bag. So, how do you avoid becoming the butt of the joke? Stay calm, smile politely, and if you hear officers whispering, keep it professional. A simple, "Is there anything I can clarify?" shows you're cooperative and makes it harder for anyone to treat you as a punchline. Have you ever suspected the TSA was whispering about you? Drop your story in the comments. And if being gossip fodder sounds bad, the next secret is worse, because that's when your belongings actually disappear. Just 5 seconds of distraction at TSA can make your wallet disappear. The trays at TSA are chaos in motion. Shoes here, laptops there, wallets sliding around with no one guarding them. The items you send in first roll out first, which means they can sit unclaimed at the far end while you're still stepping through the body scanner. That tiny gap of time is when the worst losses happen. This isn't just theory. There are real cases caught on camera. At Miami International Airport, 2 TSA officers were arrested after surveillance footage showed them opening carry-ons during screening and pocketing cash from passengers. The video went viral on social media. If theft can happen right there, in the middle of a secure zone with cameras rolling, imagine how easy it is for something small, like a watch or a wallet, to vanish when no one's paying attention. The fix is preparation. Before you even reach the belt, zip your phone, passport, and wallet into a jacket pocket with a zipper, then send the jacket through as one item. You'll thank yourself when you don't have to scoop up half a dozen loose pieces while the line behind you keeps pushing forward. And if you're traveling with someone who moves slower, maybe due to a hip replacement, a cane, plan your order. Let the faster traveler go first so they can immediately watch over both sets of bins. That one small adjustment seals off the very window of opportunity thieves count on. What other secrets might the TSA be keeping from you? Keep watching. You're about to be surprised. TSA almost never takes responsibility if your property is lost or stolen. Many travelers are frustrated to find that the TSA claims process is completely stacked against them. If your property is damaged or missing, you're told to submit a claim online with receipts, photos, and proof of value. Then comes the waiting game. Weeks, sometimes months, with little communication. In the end, the majority of claims are denied, often with a boilerplate note saying there wasn't enough evidence. Why? Because unless you can prove exactly where, when, and how the loss happened, and tie it directly to TSA, your case rarely moves forward. Even travelers who provided serial numbers or video proof from their phones have reported dead ends. Protect yourself before it happens. Snap photos of your bags and valuables. Keep receipts for high-ticket items, and store essentials in a single pouch you can track. If something does go wrong, at least you'll have documentation to back your claim. The lesson is simple. TSA has the authority to inspect your belongings, but when it comes to accountability, the burden of proof is on you, and most passengers never win that fight. And here's the part you really won't like. The next secret exposes what TSA does with your confiscated items. When TSA takes something from you at security, it doesn't just vanish into a dumpster. Items that are surrendered or confiscated are usually collected, stored for a short period, and then turned over to state surplus programs. Many end up on govdeals.com, where surplus property is auctioned online. Imagine forgetting that a $50 pocket knife in your carry-on at the airport could be bought for $5 by someone in another state who spotted it in an online auction. It's a strange thought, your mistake turning into somebody else's bargain. It's not only about obvious prohibited items like knives or liquids. Even your harmless keychain can be confiscated on the spot if it looks unsafe. Once it goes into that bin, you won't get it back. So, do a 5-minute pre-flight sweep of pockets and pouches the night before you fly. Backpack front pocket, camera cube, toiletry side zip, those are the usual culprits. Doing this saves you from losing expensive gear, time, and stress at the airport. TSA seems to call all the shots, but the next secret shows their power isn't absolute, and that secret might change how you handle your next screening. TSA officers can direct you through the scanner, swab your hands, and take a closer look at your bag. They can even pull you aside for a pat-down if the machine flags something unusual. But here's where passengers often get it wrong. TSA officers are not law enforcement. They can't arrest you, force your phone unlock, or make you drop your passport into a bin. You can keep it in hand as you walk through screening. Ever felt pressured to do this? You didn't have to. Think the TSA can arrest you? Think again. If they do find something illegal, like drugs or weapons, they can only call airport police. That's when real law enforcement steps in. Knowing TSA's limits stops powerlessness. Confidence is your best carry-on. If something feels off, ask for a supervisor. If you want your ID in sight, politely insist. You'll move through security calmer and in control. And speaking of control, one of the biggest flashpoints has always been the full-body scanner. What it reveals and your choice will shock you. That's where we're going next. Imagine stepping into a machine that shows a near-nude image of your body to a stranger. That was reality in US airports back in 2010. The backscatter scanners sparked outrage, with passengers and groups like the ACLU calling them a digital strip search. The backlash was so strong that TSA removed them nationwide by 2013. Today's scanners use millimeter wave tech that creates a cartoon-style outline, marking only anomalies, like bulky pockets or belts. They're far less invasive, but not flawless. Even a simple money belt can trigger an alarm and land you in a pat-down. The good news? You have options. If you don't want to use the scanner, you can request a manual search. And if you're wearing something that might set it off, like that travel money belt or surgical hardware, a quick heads up to the officer can save time and awkwardness. The scanners may have improved, but they're still the gateway to one of the most sensitive parts of airport security, the pat-down. And that's where your rights matter more than you realize. Being selected for a pat-down can feel intimidating, but it doesn't mean you're stuck without options. TSA policy gives you more control than many travelers realize. You just have to know how to use it. You're entitled to ask for the pat-down to be done in a private room instead of out in the open. You can request an officer of the same gender. You're allowed to have a companion or witness present. And if anything feels wrong, you can pause the search and call for a supervisor before it goes any further. One passenger shared how, on her way home from Houston, the officer searching was so forceful she felt almost assaulted. She froze and regretted not using her rights. Looking back, she wished she had spoken up to request a female officer or asked for a supervisor on the spot. That's the lesson here. Speaking calmly but firmly can change the entire situation. Simple phrases like, "I'd prefer a same-gender officer, please," or "Could we move this to a private room?" put the process back on your terms without escalating tension. Because while TSA controls the screening, you control how it's carried out. And that shift of power makes all the difference. Just because your suitcase disappears behind the check-in counter doesn't mean it's left alone. By law, every checked bag on a US flight is screened, and if something inside looks suspicious, TSA officers can open it, even if you're nowhere nearby. Most bags just roll through machines, but some get pulled for a manual search. Got a non-TSA lock? They can cut it. Wrapped your bag in plastic at the airport? They'll slice that too. And sometimes the process feels anything but transparent. One traveler arriving at Albany Airport found his TSA-approved lock gone and replaced with a heavy, unfamiliar padlock. There was no inspection slip inside. He had to cut it off himself. Was it the TSA? Was it someone else with access? He never got a clear answer. That's why you should never pack valuables in checked luggage. Keep electronics, jewelry, and essentials in your carry-on. If you must check special equipment, leave documentation on top so inspectors know exactly what they're looking at. Have you ever found your bag rifled through without a notice? Or had a lock mysteriously changed? Drop your story in the comments. I want to see how common this really is. Airports will probably never feel completely stress-free, but once you know the secrets TSA would rather keep quiet, you stop playing defense. If this video gave you one TSA secret to save time, money, or stress, subscribe for more insider tricks every week. The more you know, the more you take charge of your journey. Catch the next video for another TSA trick to master your travels.